For the past few years, Golden State has been getting humiliated. On the court, they were getting outmatched. Off the court, they were getting written off.
I'm looking at this Warrior squad, they know that they don't have enough, and I think it's hard.
With the NBA getting younger, faster, and stronger, one question hung over the entire league. Is the Warriors dynasty finally dead? No matter how you framed it, the answer was a brutal yes. I mean, in the final days before the 2025 NBA trade deadline, Golden State hit rock bottom. Blown out by Phoenix, barely survived Orlando, back-to-back losses to Utah and the Lakers. It felt like all hope was gone. But just when it felt like the Warriors were out of answers, they made a move no one saw coming.
The biggest news we got right now, and it is huge, Jimmy Butler on his way to Golden State.
At first, the Jimmy Butler trade looked like a desperate one. A Hail Mary, a final roll of the dice. But now, the entire league is starting to take notice. Because the truth of the matter is, the Warriors didn't just add another player. They added a killer, a closer, a game changer. And if the rest of the league isn't paying attention yet, they're about to. There are three types of players in the NBA. The paycheck guys. They're here to collect a bag and call it a day. The hoopers. They play for the pure love of the game. The killers. They'll do whatever it takes to win a championship. If there's one thing I've learned from following the NBA every year, Jimmy Butler is a killer.
The grind, the gyration, and the two in the foul.
And they're having wars. Look at this.
He's not the most talented player. He's not the most athletic player. And neither is he the biggest. But when it comes to players who live and breathe winning, he's tier one.
To Butler, up and in! Jimmy Butler ties the game with a half second to go.
When he was first traded for Andrew Wiggins, a lot of people questioned the move. On paper, they're both elite two-way players. In fact, you could argue that Wiggins is even more talented. And I wouldn't even disagree. Even Jimmy himself once admitted that Wiggins has more natural talent than him. At first, I wasn't sold on this trade for a lot of reasons, until I heard Jimmy Butler open his mouth.
Ready to win, ready to work, ready to put on a show for y'all. Let's get it. Championship coming soon.
One thing is obvious now. The Warriors didn't just trade for a player. They traded for a mentality. Golden State needed more than just another star. They needed a killer, a dog, someone who believes and someone who would bring relentless energy and an obsession with winning. And that's exactly what they got with Jimmy Butler.
Butler calling for it. Goes right at Murray. Foul. Count and one.
Think about it. For 2 years, he willed a team of underdogs to heights no one thought possible. He beat the best player in the conference. He took down the best team in the conference. And he did it all without a second All-NBA talent by his side. If you just look at his numbers, they don't scream superstar. But that's the thing with Jimmy. His value goes way beyond the statistics.
There's a reason he's been to 2 finals. There's a reason, he has the reputation that he has. And
let's be real. There's only one reason the Heat stayed relevant for the last 5 years. Jimmy Butler.
Finds Butler. Butler turns, fires. It's good as the shot clock expires. Jimmy Butler.
Now, here's the wildest part. This time, he's not leading a squad of misfits anymore, because now he's standing shoulder to shoulder with the best point guard in NBA history. For years, Warriors fans have been pleading, begging for the front office to give Steph Curry the help he deserves. And now, not only did they get him a co-star, they got him the perfect weapon.
They just believe not only did they need an infusion of talent and a co-star for Steph Curry, but they kind of got the perfect style of player next to Steph Curry.
Here's the full breakdown. First, Jimmy does what Steph can't, get to the free throw line.
Scoop and finish. He's got 30. Butler
They're
gets
still on the bench for their teams.
Into the lane.
Butler. Aid for Butler as he gets inside for 2.
Steph is the greatest shooter ever, but if there's one thing he's never been elite at, it's drawing fouls. But Jimmy Butler? That's his specialty. This completely changes the game for the Warriors. Slowing things down gives Curry something he's never really had: real in-game rest. Think about it. The man never stops moving. At 36, running off screens, getting hounded by double teams, and creating offense every night is exhausting. But now, when the Warriors need a rest, Jimmy takes over and attacks the rim, forces defenders into foul trouble, and slows the game down. Because if you think Steph Curry is deadly now, imagine him with fresh legs in the fourth quarter.
His hands, they'll live with Edwards shooting the basketball.
Curry gives Golden State the lead.
Reason number 2, Jimmy is the yin to Steph's yang.
I think the idea that he's like the exact opposite player of me, which is kind of funny.
The Warriors have always lived and died by the three-point line. And defenses, they knew it. That's why they started loading up on the perimeter, chasing shooters off the line, daring Golden State to beat them in any other way possible. But now, that's not an option, because Jimmy Butler is the exact opposite of Curry. Steph kills you from deep. Jimmy kills you in the mid-range. Steph is finesse. Jimmy is brute force. He's a nightmare to defend. Teams can't just sit on the three-point line anymore. They have to respect a relentless attacker who thrives inside the arc, getting to his spots and finishing through contact.
Jimmy inside, and Steph finding him perfectly.
Reason 3, a defensive nightmare for opponents. Here's the craziest part. Guarding the Warriors just became a nightmare.
You usually have designated 2 guards or 3-and-D guys who will be on Steph. Now they got to guard Jimmy. Because if you put a point guard on Jimmy, it's curtains.
Christmas.
Yeah, he's posting
Catch
them
me
up.
on the
He's
block.
taking them to the basket. They too small.
Before, teams needed elite perimeter defenders to chase Curry around screens. But now, they need 2 completely different types of defenders. One to chase Steph, and one to deal with Jimmy's strength and post-ups. And even then, good luck. Just ask Drew Holiday, one of the best defenders in the league, how fun it is trying to stop Jimmy Butler in a playoff series.
The last 6 make it the last 8 for Miami.
If Jimmy Butler could take a bunch of undrafted players in Miami and turn them into stars on the biggest stage, imagine what he can do with the Warriors' young core. Kuminga, Moody, the Postman, Santos, Podziemski. Now, I'm not saying Jimmy is about to turn these guys into all-stars overnight, but trust me, you'll see the difference. Just look at Tyler Hero, now an all-star.
He pulls up at 4:30, full sweat when we walk in the gym, like, he got us beat.
As a rookie, Hero wasn't just along for the ride. He was in the gym at 4 a.m. grinding because he followed Jimmy's lead. And that's how you go from just another young player to a certified bucket. Steph Curry is an incredible leader. There's no doubt about that. But Jimmy brings something different. He brings heat culture. And if you know anything about the NBA, you know heat culture isn't just a phrase. It's real. Miami has overachieved for years because of their mindset, their toughness, and their refusal to back down. And the face of that culture? Jimmy Butler. Well, now he's bringing all of that to Golden State. I mean, just imagine, if Kuminga could get any of that upgrade that Tyler Hero got from being around Jimmy, the league is in trouble.
UD, I ask you, who fears Golden State, even with Jimmy Butler? You think OKC is afraid of them? You think the Nuggets are afraid of them? The Lakers aren't afraid of them. I don't really think anybody that's above them are afraid of them.
The NBA is stacked with young powerhouse teams. The Warriors? Older, battle-worn. So why would anyone fear them? For example, in the East, you've got the Cavaliers, the Celtics, and the Knicks. In the West, there's the Thunder, the Nuggets, and the Grizzlies. Each of these teams has superstars. They're younger than the Warriors, and they've got elite supporting casts. So, some of y'all might think it's delusional to say the NBA should fear the Warriors. But here's the cold truth. It's been a while since he's been on the playoff stage, thanks to last year's injury. But y'all are forgetting about Jimmy Butler.
Butler with Brogdon on him. It's a long three, and good!
This man is a postseason killer. Look back at the 2020 NBA Finals. Game 3 against the Lakers. 40 points, 11 rebounds, 13 assists. One of the greatest final performances ever. Then, 2 games later, in a must-win situation, he played 47 out of 48 minutes and dropped another triple-double. 35 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, 5 steals. In the playoffs, the man turns into Denzel Washington from Man on Fire, dragging Miami to 2 finals with a mediocre squad. And the craziest part? It could have been 3. Remember 2022 when he torched Boston for 47 points in Game 6 to force a Game 7 and was 1 3-pointer away from taking Miami to another finals? And speaking of Boston, the odds makers say they're favorites to win it all this year. But let's not forget, Jimmy Butler is their kryptonite. If he could take them down multiple times in the playoffs with a weak supporting cast, imagine what he could do with Steph Curry next to him. So why should the league fear the Warriors? Well, it's because a killer just landed on the greatest dynasty of the modern era. Yeah, Steph is older now, but let's not forget, he led Team USA to gold. You could argue he was the best player on that squad. And Jimmy? Before he got traded, he was having the most efficient season of his career. So, if y'all think the Warriors aren't a team the NBA should be scared of, you might want to think again. Shout out to Pat Riley for not wanting to pay Jimmy Butler. Because of that decision, he just handed the Warriors another golden shot at a title. Meanwhile, the Heat? They're in serious trouble. Unless they can pull off a miracle and land another superstar. But hey, at least Riley didn't completely sabotage the franchise, like what Nico Harrison and Patrick Dumont just did in Dallas. Those guys are basketball terrorists. They didn't just ruin the Mavericks, they killed the entire city of Dallas. And if you want to see how this franchise just self-destructed,